Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today's topic is going to be about breastfeeding. I really did not know anything about breastfeeding until I basically started to do it. I've been breastfeeding Coco for about 10 months. She never took a bottle, she never took a pacifier, so there was a lot that I had to learn. I'm going to share the 10 things that I wish I knew before I was breastfeeding. Okay, so the first thing is, in the first 4 to 6 weeks, it's not recommended to give a bottle, which means you are doing every single feeding. This is to avoid nipple confusion between the bottle and the breast. Coco's. Coco. But if you're breastfeeding, you're gonna be doing every single feeding for the first 4 to 6 weeks. If you get really lucky like me, your baby might not ever accept a bottle and you'll be doing pretty much every single feeding for at least 6 months. So another fun thing is called mastitis. I've had mastitis twice and I got it in the first 2 weeks of giving birth. It's basically when your breasts get really inflamed and you get flu-like symptoms. So it basically knocks you out. I had a little bit of a fever. I really couldn't move. I had chills. I had no idea what hit me. The first time I got mastitis was after a wedding. We took Chloe to a wedding when she was 10 days old, and then when she was 14 days old, we actually moved apartments. So I was putting a lot of stress on my body. When I saw a lactation consultant, she just said that even though I felt fine, she was like, your body was still going through so much. I basically wore myself down. Mastitis is awful. I was so afraid that I was gonna get it again. I was so afraid when I went back to work I was gonna get it again from just overexerting myself. Miss! Okay, so the next thing is cluster feeding. I had no idea what cluster feeding was. That's when the baby feeds for hours and hours and hours a day. It usually happens around growth spurts. At first, I had no idea what was going on. I thought maybe I wasn't producing enough milk. I was so confused on why she was still hungry. Looked more into it and I realized cluster feeding is just the baby's way to stimulate more milk production. So it's really, really important during those times that the baby's cluster feeding to let the baby feed. That will help make sure that you have enough milk going forward. The next thing I learned was that lactation consultants are super hard to find. My biggest recommendation would be to do research for lactation consultants before you go to the hospital. The reason is sometimes you're feeding every 3 hours and it's hurting, or your milk's not coming in right. You need a lactation consultant there pretty quickly. I would recommend to have at least 3 to 5 numbers available beforehand. That way you can call multiple people and then you have multiple options. You can find people that accept insurance. You just have to do a little bit of research. It's really important to kind of do that research beforehand. Have those numbers ready. And so when you do get out of the hospital and you do need help, somebody is right there to help you. So another fun thing that I learned was that even if you're not the one feeding your baby, if someone else is giving the baby a bottle, that does not mean you get to skip that feeding. Your breasts are still gonna fill up with milk and you have to pump. So for example, if you go out for dinner, and you're out from 6 to 9, at the 3-hour mark, your breasts are gonna be filled with milk and you're gonna have to pump. It's gonna be very uncomfortable. For one, if you don't pump, and two, if you don't pump, it's going to stimulate to your brain that you don't need that milk and your milk supply might be decreased. You're going to go out for longer than 3 hours at a time. You have to bring your pump. Now, with that being said, you can pump and dump. So it's not like you have to store the milk or keep the milk, but you do have to bring your pump with you. Craziest place I've had to pump so far is at an NFL game. I ended up dumping that milk because I was drinking, but I wasn't able to go all day without pumping. So the next thing that kind of hit me a little bit hard was that you can't wear underwire bras because they can cause clogged ducts and they're really uncomfortable when you're breastfeeding. I would say now at 10 months, it's Coco's. To say at 10 months, it's not as big of an issue as it was in the beginning, but it was so hard for me to get dressed because I was wearing these like lace nursing bras. Just going out to a nice event, it's really hard not to be able to wear an underwire bra. I did at times, it was uncomfortable. Most of the time you're just gonna be in lace nursing bras, so just plan accordingly with your wardrobe. I basically just wore, things like this, button downs, loose t-shirts, loose sweaters. You can't really wear things that aren't easily accessible, so like a dress, a romper. I really stuck with like skirts and like shirts and button downs and things like that. So before I started breastfeeding, I didn't really have a goal in mind of how long I was gonna breastfeed for. I definitely wanted to do it for 1 month. I was hoping to do it for 3. After Chloe was born, I found out that 6 months is, you know, normally what they recommend. And then I found out the World Health Organization recommends definitely 1 year, up to 2 years is great. And then I learned that babies don't self-wean themselves normally until 2 to 4 years of age. So it's a long time. We are at 10 months right now. I do not have any plan moving forward for how long we're gonna do it for. I'm gonna just kind of let it ride out and see. So the next thing is the benefits of breast milk. But I just love that it's pretty mindless for me. I'm looking at ingredients or, you know, concerned with how much she's eating or what's in it. You know, it's just, my milk's already perfect for her. And it actually changes with your baby as your baby grows, and actually changes when they're sick. The baby's saliva will actually indicate that they're feeling sick, and your breast milk will change accordingly, which is really cool. It's just a lack of awareness with breastfeeding with just friends, family, coworkers, even pediatricians, which I can understand. I did not know that much about breastfeeding either until I started to breastfeed. However, it can just be a little bit frustrating when people are questioning how long you're going to breastfeed for and why do you have to breastfeed now? Why can't you wait till you get home? Things like that. The best way I can explain it is like the breast is like a pacifier. A baby loves their pacifier. They need their pacifier no matter where they're at. So it can just be very similar to breastfeeding. Babies nurse either for comfort or for hunger, and that can just happen at any point in time. A mom can't just nurse her baby inside her house. You know, she's gonna be out and about and the baby's gonna wanna nurse, again, either for comfort or for hunger. You know, and same thing about when are you gonna stop breastfeeding? You know, that's just very similar to saying, like, when are you gonna take away your baby's pacifier? You know, there's not a right or wrong answer about it, but it's just not an easy thing. A lot of women, you know, just are breastfeeding, just kind of seeing how it goes. Hey, cuckoos. So the next thing is when you're breastfeeding, your diet has to be pretty similar, unfortunately, to how it was during pregnancy, in addition to like how much caffeine and how much fish you eat. You can have like raw fish now, like raw egg and cheese and all that, but it does have to stay pretty similar to pregnancy. Also, you know, whatever was not okay during pregnancy, like in like skincare products or procedures like Botox or fillers, also applies when you're breastfeeding. So, you know, you wait 9 months and then you have a baby and then you're excited to get your Botox done. Unfortunately, you have to wait until you're also done breastfeeding. So for me, I've loved it and she loves it, which, you know, is awesome. It's just worked so well for us. It doesn't work well for everybody. If you're not able to breastfeed for whatever reason, you know, that's okay. You have to do what's best for you and what's best for your baby. Naturally, it just, I mean, she never even took a bottle. So naturally for us, breastfeeding worked out great. She's gaining weight. She's in the 80th percentile for her weight. Isn't that right, Cocoa Beans? Yes, you're so big and chunky, aren't you? So, I wish you all the best in your breastfeeding journey.